She unknowingly attended a billionaire's wedding. What she discovered changed her life forever. Sarah's heart raced as she glanced at the invitation, an extravagant gold-embossed card that felt foreign in her calloused hands. She questioned her decision to attend what she thought was a charity event for the local community. The glimmering chandeliers and lavish decorations of the hotel screamed wealth. Still, her love for art burned brightly within her, competing with the heavy tinges of obligation toward her father, a once proud veteran now dogged by joblessness and illness. As the evening unfolded, she moved like a ghost among the glittering crowd. The laughter and chatter surrounded her, but it felt worlds apart. She served drinks to the well-dressed attendees, their smooth suits and flowing gowns a sharp contrast to her simple black uniform. Each flick of a wrist felt heavier as she overheard snippets of conversation about stocks, philanthropy, and the day's opulence. Her heart tightened when she caught phrases like, "They just don't understand our struggle," a veiled insult towards people like her, the ones who had worked so hard to make ends meet. She felt a weighty mix of admiration and resentment bubbling in her chest. The rich were so carefree, yet their subtle derision stung. Memories washed over her as she remembered her father's words, teaching her about integrity and the value of honest work. A customer complained about her service, reminding her that sometimes your best effort isn't enough for everyone. Before she could shake off the shadows of doubt, chaos erupted, the clatter of glasses falling, a sudden stumble in the crowd. In her desperate attempt to steady herself, she knocked over a tray of drinks. The beautiful bride, adorned like a living doll, gasped in horror. But instead of anger, there was something softer in her gaze, a spark of curiosity. The moment ignited something within Sarah. As she scrambled to clean up, a splash of red wine and sparkling water turned into an accidental creation, trailing across a fine linen tablecloth like a canvas. To her surprise, the bride's eyes lit up with intrigue. "That's beautiful!" she exclaimed. Suddenly, the glitzy, chaotic world around her faded. Sarah felt a flicker of hope, a fleeting idea that perhaps she could bridge the divide between her world and theirs. A path before her, glimmering with potential. But alongside that hope came an avalanche of doubt. Could she really leave behind her community and her father, who had sacrificed everything for her? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The bride stepped closer, her fascination igniting a flame of possibility in Sarah. "I'd love to see your work," she said softly, her blue eyes sparkling with sincerity. A door had cracked open, and Sarah stood at the threshold, her heart hammering with both fear and excitement. The night spun onward, replete with laughter, music, and swirling emotions. The warmth of her community battled against the cold allure surrounding her. As she looked at the bride, uncertainty wrestled with resolve. Could she really forsake the love that built her to chase a dream? Dreams lingered just within reach, yet the pulse of her family and town anchored her deep in reality. Would she embrace the unexpected path, or would she let it fade behind the glitter, leaving her unsure of what tomorrow could hold? As a last toast echoed through the room, Sarah felt her pulse quicken above the laughter and the music. She knew a decision loomed just ahead. Sarah's breath caught in her throat as the bride stepped closer, her radiant smile shining like a beacon at that chaotic moment. "I'd love to see your work," she repeated, her voice threading through the noise of the celebration. The weight of those words stirred something deep within Sarah, an ember that had been buried under layers of doubt and disappointment. "Really?" Sarah finally managed to breathe out, barely believing what she heard. The flicker of hope ignited a warmth in her chest, battling against the chill of uncertainty creeping in. "You want to see my work?" "Yes. I can see the beauty in what you created tonight. I'm sure there's so much more." The bride's enthusiasm was infectious, and for the first time that evening, Sarah felt a part of something larger than just her own fears. Sarah's mind raced, the wheels turning as she considered the woman's offer. Could this be more than a fleeting moment of connection? It felt like a lifeline thrown into turbulent waters, but she hesitated. Was she truly ready to grasp it? The world she belonged to loomed in the back of her mind, a relentless pull toward her family and the familiar struggles they faced each day. The bride leaned in, sensing Sarah's hesitation. I understand it might feel like too much right now, but trust me, pursuing your passion is worth it. It's fulfilling. With those words, hope flickered more intensely, a stubborn candle flame against the wind of doubt. As they exchanged names, Sarah and Mia, their world seemed to morph. A blurred line between simplicity and extravagance softened, replaced by shared dreams and unseen connections. When Mia invited Sarah to the artist enclave she was hosting in the city, Sarah felt a jolt of electricity shoot through her, but reality clawed back with a ruthless urgency. I can't leave my father, she whispered, her voice trembling. The thought of abandoning her home unsettled her. Every memory flooded back: the simmering stove that filled their small apartment with the aroma of comfort, her father's laughter mixed with pain as he recounted tales of courage in a world that seemed to have forgotten him. Family is everything, Mia said, softly. But so is following your dreams. You can find a balance, Sarah. You don't have to choose one over the other. They can coexist. Mia's words held a power that resonated deep within Sarah. Was it really possible? Could she weave her calling into the fabric of who she was, not tear herself away from her roots? The notion of balancing both worlds, art and family, filled her thoughts, rendering the night's chaos suddenly meaningful. Time stretched as the evening wore on. As laughter and music filled the air, a realization dawned on Sarah. This was a crossroads, a moment she had longed for without even understanding it. Following her heart could potentially change her life, but would it also mean letting go the weight that held her down? Before she could answer that question, the moment turned electric. Mia took Sarah's hand, pulling her deeper into the thrumming heart of the party. Let us celebrate the beauty you create. I want to show you something. A thrumming excitement filled the air, but Sarah felt the weight of her previous life pressing down on her. In the swirl of glamour and flashing lights, could she step into a future that felt so foreign, yet so tantalizingly close at hand? As they weaved through the sea of elegant guests, Sarah's thoughts tangled. The night held promises she had never dared to dream. Just as she began to envision herself stepping into the vibrant world beyond her worries, another guest inadvertently bumped into her, spilling wine down the back of her uniform. Sorry, he exclaimed, eyes wide with genuine concern, but Sarah felt her heart drop. Could this evening go any worse? Amid the laughter and the hustle, she clutched Mia's hand tighter. Would this be the night that ultimately defined her, or the moment she spiraled back into the safety of her mundane life? As they stepped into a quieter alcove, the uncertainty loomed just when she thought she might find the courage to dream. The sound of clinking glasses faded into the background as Sarah took a deep breath, willing herself to shake off the embarrassment. Wine was running down her back, cool against her skin. But it wasn't the spilled drink that made the heat rush to her cheeks, it was the weight of Mia's expectation, urging her to step further into a new world. Let me help you clean up, the man blurted out, his voice tinged with genuine regret. He swiped nervously at the front of his tux, looking more like a high school kid than a suave guest. I didn't see you there. It's fine, really, Sarah said, waving him off and attempting a smile. Each word felt heavy, as if stealing more from her than she could give. But in that moment, Mia was already pulling out a handkerchief, dabbing at the dark stain with a gentle touch. The gesture felt oddly intimate and comforting. Hey, don't worry about it. I'm Andrew, the young man said, his eyes a warm hue that softened the sting of embarrassment. This party is crazy, I think everyone's just trying to impress someone. Makes sense, Sarah said, grateful that Andrew was talking. She felt less exposed now, a little more grounded. Are you an artist? Andrew asked, nodding toward the decorative centerpieces that she had created. They're stunning. Sarah's heartbeat quickened. Well, I help out with events, she replied, hesitant to claim the title of artist just yet. The vulnerability of admitting her passion unnerved her. For a split second, she thought about her father, about how he would scoff at the idea of calling her an artist. Mia dropped the stained handkerchief into her purse and turned to Andrew with a mischievous smile. Sarah is being modest. She's more talented than a lot of the professionals I know. Yeah? Andrew's eyebrows raised in surprise. You should definitely show your work. Have you thought about exhibiting? The question hung in the air, and for the first time, Sarah allowed herself to consider it. Could she really do that? It was one thing to have dreams, another to put them out there for the world to see. Actually, Mia chimed in, I'm hosting an artist enclave next week. You should come, Sarah. It could be a great start. The words rushed past Sarah like an unexpected tide, pulling her closer to the shore of possibility. She gazed into Mia's eyes, searching for any hint of pressure but found only support. Yeah, I'd love to. Andrew added, obviously caught up in the excitement. It'll be fun. We could all meet more artists there. In that moment, something shifted within Sarah. A knot of fear in her stomach loosened, and just for an instant, she saw a shimmering possibility, the chance to be more than just the girl who helped at home, but then it tightened again, the familiar weight creeping back in. I don't know. My father, she started, but the words stuck in her throat. Did she dare put her own dreams before family responsibilities? Was she allowed to take this chance without abandon swirling in her mind? Andrew's hopeful expression faltered slightly, sensing her internal struggle. We all have responsibilities, but remember, you deserve to chase what makes you happy too, he said quietly. The muffled sounds of laughter and music swirled around them, the party thrumming to its own rhythm, yet here in this small moment, Sarah felt suspended in time. The crossroads was clear, this was the choice looming in front of her. Let me think about it, she finally whispered, more to herself than to her new companions. Just then, the loud voice of the wedding planner blared through the nearby speakers. Everyone, we are about to start the dancing. Get ready to hit the floor. Mia's eyes sparkled with enthusiasm. Are you ready for your first dance, Sarah? For the first time since stepping into the ball, Sarah felt a wild rush of excitement. Would she brave the dance floor? Would she step into the vibrant world waiting for her? The question lingered in the air as she took a deep breath. And as the music began to play, she felt the stirrings of a newfound courage raising her spirits. But would she have the strength to take that first step into the unknown? As the inviting melody of the first dance swept through the elegantly decorated ballroom, Sarah felt her heart race. The crowd parted, creating an open space that felt like a stage. She glanced at Andrew, his friendly smile nudging her toward action. This was not merely a moment to be cautious, it was an opportunity for something more. Mia grabbed Sarah's hand, her eyes sparkling with encouragement. Come on, let us go. Before Sarah could protest, their feet moved in sync toward the dance floor, the soft fabric of Mia's dress swirling around them. With every step, the weight of all her doubts began to dissipate. The music wrapped around her, lifting her spirit and igniting a fire deep within. The initial intimidation melted into something exhilarating as she found herself moving effortlessly to the rhythm. As they threaded through the crowd, Sarah caught glimpses of faces, some laughing, some lost in their own world. The lights twinkled like stars scattered across the night, and in that moment, she felt alive. It was a powerful reminder that she had the right to claim her space, just like everyone else celebrating their joyous occasion. In the middle of the dance floor, Andrew joined them, effortlessly sliding in beside her. See? Not so bad, right? He said, the enthusiasm in his voice infectious. His presence gave her courage. She took a deep breath, letting the music infiltrate her soul. Okay, she agreed, a smile breaking through her earlier hesitation. They became a trio, laughing and spinning, the joy contagious as more guests joined in, creating a circle of shared experience, unity, and freedom. But then, something unexpected happened. In the midst of the laughter and dancing, Sarah spotted a familiar face across the room, her father, glancing at her with a mixture of concern and shock. His presence felt like cold water splashed against her warmth. The tightness in her chest returned, reminding her of the life she juggled outside this enchanting bubble. "Hey, are you all right?" Andrew's voice pulled her back, concern etched in his features. "Yeah, just my dad," she murmured, her heart pounding, the joy of the dance now overshadowed by anxiety. She could hear him murmuring to someone nearby, his eyes darting curiously her way. "Do you want to talk to him?" Mia asked cautiously, her expression softening with understanding. Sarah shook her head vehemently, her smile wavering. "No, I don't want to ruin this moment. I need to figure out how to balance it all." "It's your life," Andrew said with conviction. "Don't let anyone take away your happiness. The people who care about you should lift you up, not hold you back." His words struck a chord, igniting the embers of her ambition. Could she really dare to choose what she loved, even with the ghost of expectations looming? Was it reckless to dream when the past hung like a shadow? Before she could respond, a thunderous applause erupted as a couple took center stage, celebrating their first dance as spouses. Their joy radiated through the crowd, triggering a ripple of excitement, and Sarah was momentarily swept away by the romance of it all. In that instant, clarity arrived like a soft whisper. Maybe this was her chance to embrace who she truly was, a budding artist, not just someone defined by her family name. And yet, the fear of breaking away from what she'd always known loomed large. As the song reached its peak, Sarah knew she needed to act. Turning to Andrew, her heart racing, she asked, "What if I really did exhibit my work? What if I took that step?" His face lit up, a spark of enthusiasm igniting in his eyes. "Then you absolutely should. Let us make it happen." Her chest swelled with determination, but the moment was broken when she caught sight of her father again. He was making his way through the crowd, his frown deepening with every step. "Just a second," she told Mia and Andrew, the urgency pulling her toward her father. Would she face him now? What would she say? Her heart raced as she stood at the crossroads of courage and hesitation, not sure how to reconcile her desires with the world waiting back home. But before she could move, another familiar voice interrupted her thoughts. "Sarah." It was Mia, her expression a mix of determination and excitement. "You'll never believe who just walked in." Caught in a swirl of emotions, Sarah turned. A wave of uncertainty surged within her, swirling around the dance floor like a tide, determination coursing against the retreat of fear. What awaited her at the edge of the crowd could change everything. But would she have the courage to face it? As Sarah's gaze shifted, her heart thumped painfully against her ribcage. The last person she expected to see tonight was standing at the entrance, a striking figure among the guests. Jordan, her childhood friend turned successful entrepreneur, was scanning the room, his presence like a spotlight illuminating the shadows of her worries. Mia grinned, bouncing on her toes. "It's Jordan. You remember him, right? He looks amazing." Yeah," Sarah's voice trailed off. The years had changed him. He was no longer the boy she once knew, but a man who seemed to command the room with his confidence. She hadn't seen him since high school, 1,000 lifetimes ago it felt like, but memories flooded back, time spent laughing, dreaming, and too often crying together. "Come on," Mia urged, taking Sarah by the hand again, the urgency propelling them forward. Before she knew it, they were weaving through the crowd, with Andrew following closely behind. As they approached, Jordan's eyes met hers, and her heart flipped. The warmth in his gaze sent a spark coursing through her, igniting something long forgotten. "Sarah." He strode forward, breaking into a genuine smile that filled her chest with both nostalgia and unexpected excitement. "Wow, it's been a while." "Yeah, it really has," she managed, glancing down to hide the flush creeping up her cheeks. "You look great." "Thanks. You too." His eyes lingered on her, sincere and attentive. It felt like they were the only two people in that vast ballroom filled with couples dancing and celebrating love. Mia and Andrew stepped back, leaving them in their own little bubble. The moment was electric, charged with unspoken words and feelings that had been left unattended. "So, how's life treating you?" Jordan asked, tilting his head, genuinely curious. Sarah hesitated for a moment. The million thoughts scrambling in her mind felt paradoxical. Should she divulge about her art, her dreams, her struggles? Or was she just supposed to throw out the typical pleasantries? "It's complicated," she finally admitted, her resolve strengthening with every word. "I've been exploring some new paths, trying to figure out what I really want." Jordan nodded slightly. "That's brave. I've always admired how you go after what you want. I mean, I'm doing the same. Just launched a startup, spending my days trying to make a difference, you know?" His words spun in her head. He was doing it. Living his dream. Could she dare to follow suit? This wasn't just a casual encounter, it felt as if the universe had collided their paths again for a reason. "Listen," he leaned closer as if sharing a secret. "If you ever need a space to showcase your art, or even some help getting started, just let me know. Seriously. I'd love to support you." Her heart skipped a beat. The thought of exhibiting her work, of people really seeing her, threatened to crash against her doubts like waves against a rocky shore. "You really think so?" "Absolutely." Jordan replied with assuredness, his eyes sparkling. "You've always had an incredible talent. Don't let fear hold you back." Taking a deep breath, Sarah considered the weight of his words. The fear and doubt began to lift just by standing here, sharing this space with someone who believed in her. But before she could respond, Sarah noticed her father approaching again, his face stern and worried. The reality of her life crept back in like a heavy fog. Hold that thought," she said, feeling a conflict well up inside her. "I need to." "Sarah." Her father's voice rang out like an alarm, cutting through the music. One moment, she was standing on the precipice of possibility, and the next, she was being pulled back by the ropes of expectation. Would she let the moment slip through her fingers? Would she succumb to the pressure that awaited her beyond the dance floor? As she turned, her heart raced once more. This confrontation could shift everything, but what if it also shattered her newfound resolve? "Sarah. We need to talk," her father began to demand. And in that moment, she realized she was on the brink of a decision that could change everything. Would she stand her ground or let fear dictate her choices? What awaited her beyond that pivotal confrontation could redefine her future forever. Would she find the courage to embrace herself, to step boldly into her dreams, even as the storm of expectations loomed closer? Sarah turned to face her father, the stern lines on his face cutting through the moment like a harsh spotlight. All the warmth from her conversation with Jordan faded, replaced by the heavy weight of expectation hung around her shoulders. "Can't it wait?" She started, feeling the flutter of excitement at the thought of Jordan's swell and then burst like a fragile bubble. "No, it can't," her father insisted, his voice low but firm. "We need to discuss the family business. It's important." She felt a sinking sensation. The family business. The very thing that often felt like a restraint more than a lifeline. Her father had an idea of where his precious daughter should be, taking her rightful place in the company, making practical decisions, contributing to a legacy. But that wasn't the dream she held close to her heart. "Dad, can't it wait just for a little while longer? I was catching up with someone important to me." "Someone important?" he echoed, skepticism in his tone, his brows knitting tighter. "You mean that friend of yours? What does he want?" "It's not just a friend, it's Jordan." The name came out sharper than she'd intended, the edge of shock resonating through her. We grew up together. He's not just anyone. Is he successful? Her father asked, skeptical. Is he in a position to help you? What does that matter? Sarah protested, anger flushing through her. I'm trying to change my life here. Can't you see that? Her father's face softened, ever so slightly, but it was still laden with worry. Sarah, I just want the best for you. I want you to be secure. Secure? She felt the words boiling within, ready to explode. Is following your dreams not a form of security in itself? A silence hung between them, thick and heavy. All around them, couples twirled and laughed, lost in their own worlds, while the music swirled like a comforting blanket. Your dreams? He finally said, an incredulous twist in his voice. What are you even talking about? The art you think you can survive on that? Maybe not all of it. But it means something to me. Perhaps it's time I figured out who I really am outside of what you expect. You think you can just step away from our responsibilities? His tone was rising, the sounds of the celebration fading behind their heated exchange. That you can dance around and it'll all work out? In that moment, something inside her burst free. The years of conformity, of treading lightly around her father's beliefs, all surfaced in a heartbeat. Yes. Maybe I can. Or at least I want to try. You've set my whole life for me, and while I'm grateful, I can't keep going like this. Sarah, his voice dropped, softer yet still stern. You have to see reality. Not everything can be a dream. Maybe dreams can lead to a new reality, she countered, a thrill rising in her chest as she met her father's gaze. For a moment, they stood there, staring at each other, the standoff heavy and palpable. Would her father take a step back and recognize her independence? Would she find the strength to fight for her budding dreams? Just then, Jordan appeared again, glancing between them, concern etched on his face. Is everything okay? He asked softly, his attention focused on Sarah. She wanted to cling to him, to laugh off the tension, to escape back into their earlier magic. But would she? Before she could respond, her father took a step back, his expression unreadable, conflicted, as if she'd frozen time. I'll give you some space to think, he said quietly, turning on his heel. The moment felt surreal, like a scene unfolding in slow motion. As her father merged back into the crowd, Sarah felt herself wobbling on the edge of something monumental. Sarah? Jordan's voice gently pulled her back. Do you want to talk about it? The warmth of his presence beckoned her toward possibilities. The idea of sharing her struggles spilled like ink on a blank canvas, begging to be drawn out. But the weight of what just happened and the choice before her felt electric. Can we take a walk? She finally asked, her heart racing, the night air suddenly charged with everything. Unsaid. The path ahead shimmered with uncertainty, yet the door to her dreams flickered in the distance. Would this be the moment that changed everything? What unknowns awaited them outside the ballroom? As Sarah stepped away from the ballroom, the cool night air brushed against her skin, igniting her senses. Jordan was by her side, the familiar spark of their connection momentarily dispelling the tension she felt. She took a deep breath, her thoughts swirling with the fight she just had and the dreams that suddenly seemed within reach. Are you okay? Jordan asked quietly, glancing at her with concern. His eyes held warmth and sincerity, settling her frayed nerves just slightly. I don't know, she admitted, biting her lip. I thought tonight would be fun, but instead, I feel like everything's about to change. He nodded, slowing their pace as they walked through the garden, where fairy lights hung from branches, casting a soft glow around them. Change can be good, you know. Sometimes it's what we need, even if it's scary. Scary is an understatement, she laughed softly, though her heart thudded loudly against her chest. It feels like I'm on a tightrope, balancing between what I want and what's expected of me. Maybe you should take a leap, then, he suggested, his smile alive with encouragement. What if this is the moment where you choose you? Choosing me, the words echoed in her mind, a whisper of possibilities. Could she do it? They found a quiet bench nestled among the rose bushes, and Sarah sank down, feeling the weight of her thoughts settle around her like an old blanket. Jordan sat beside her, waiting patiently for her to gather the pieces of her heart scattered from her confrontation with her father. Did you have any dreams when you were little? Sarah asked suddenly, curiosity pulling at her. Yeah, he chuckled, leaning back. I wanted to become a pilot. I was obsessed with planes. But then life happened, and here I am, wherever here is. Wherever here is? She raised an eyebrow, a smile creeping onto her lips. Looks pretty fancy to me. True, he laughed. But I meant it in a different way. Sometimes, we forget what we loved because we become too focused on the path others expect us to take. She nodded, the soft sounds of laughter floating from the ballroom drifting in the background, a reminder of the life bustling just beyond their moment. It's hard to remember who we were when there's so much else pulling at us. Jordan turned to her, his gaze piercing through the layers of doubt and insecurity. So, what do you want, Sarah? Right now, no expectations, just your heart talking. She hesitated, the weight of her dreams pressing down on her. I want to paint. I want to explore. I want to create a life that reflects who I am, not who someone else wants me to be. Then let us start there, he urged, his voice steady. What is stopping you? Fear, she admitted, the truth raw on her tongue. Fear of failing, of disappointing my family, of giving up everything I've known. Failure is just a lesson waiting to happen, he replied, leaning forward slightly, his intensity unwavering. And as for your family? They love you, right? They want you to be happy. But will they understand? He shook his head. You'll never know unless you tell them. But first, you have to believe in yourself. You have to take that leap. His words hung in the air, heavy with possibility, and Sarah felt a flicker of hope igniting within her. Maybe she could choose a different path. As they sat in the calming silence, a sense of clarity began to wash over her. She thought about her father's expectant face, the dreams she'd tucked away, and how they were slowly unfurling like the petals of those roses around her. What if I did talk to him? She mused, her heartbeat quickening. What if I showed him my art? Maybe if I take the chance. Jordan interrupted her thoughts, his voice barely above a whisper. That could be the start of your new reality. Just then, a couple strolled by, laughing joyfully, oblivious to the emotional storm brewing in Sarah's heart. She turned to Jordan, her chest tightening with excitement. Are you in this with me? She asked, her voice firm. Always, he replied, his smile broadening, a partner in this newfound adventure. As they prepared to stand, a figure caught Sarah's eye from the corner of the garden. Her heart sank. It was her father, watching from a distance, an expression of worry etched on his face. Sarah, he called, his voice cutting through the fleeting moment, the world around them warped with tension. She felt Jordan's presence beside her, urging her forward, but as her father approached, fear washed over her again. Would she find the courage to fight for her dreams, or would the moment slip away like the shadows blending into the night? Sarah felt her heartbeat thud in her chest, the sound echoing in her ears as she faced her father's worried expression. The fairy lights glimmered around her, almost mocking the heavy turmoil brewing in her heart. Her mind raced with a sense of urgency, caught between taking a step toward her dreams and retreating to the safety of family expectations. Dad, she started, but the weight of her resolve faltered as his gaze darkened with concern. Why did you leave the party? He asked, his voice firm yet edged with worry. You're missing all the important people. She could see his need for appearances, his desire to uphold the family's image. She understood, but that didn't ease the churning within her. I needed some air, she replied, trying to sound casual even though she felt anything but. I needed to think. About what? The question hung in the air, daring her to say the words she had kept hidden for far too long. Before she could prepare her heart, Jordan spoke up. She was just telling me about her art. She wants to share it with you. Her father turned to Jordan, confusion written across his features. Art? Is that what this is about? Yes, Sarah said, gathering her courage. I want to show you my paintings, Dad. I want to pursue art full-time. Silence stretched between them. She could feel the shift in the atmosphere, the distance growing as the truth seeped into the garden night. The reality of her father's expectations weighed heavily in the quiet. Sarah, he began slowly, his tone tightening, you're better than this. Surely, you want to follow a more sensible path, a career that will provide stability. All this art stuff is just a phase. You know that, right? The word struck her like a cold wave. It was a disapproval she had almost expected but never fully accepted. She glanced at Jordan, who looked between her and her father, his expression supportive yet tense, like he was holding his breath, waiting for her next move, but something had shifted in her heart. Dad, it's not a phase, she asserted with newfound strength. It's who I am. I love painting. It makes me feel alive. Can't you see that? I see a daughter who is throwing her future away, he snapped, frustration flickering in his eyes. You think this is a game? Art doesn't pay the bills. I've sacrificed too much for you to chase after dreams that won't lead anywhere. Every word felt like a jab. Sarah swallowed hard, fighting back tears. She wanted to scream, to express all the pain and frustration she felt inside. But you don't even know me. You've never asked what I want. This isn't about me. This is about your future. He shot back, his voice rising. Jordan stood up slightly, his respectful demeanor shifting into protective mode. Sir, I think it's worth giving her dreams a chance. Sometimes, a passion can lead to unexpected success. Her father's head swung toward Jordan, irritation etched on his face. And who are you to put your 2 cents in? This is a family matter. Maybe that's the problem, Jordan replied, a calmness in his voice that belied the tension. You've built a wall around your family that isn't allowing them to grow. Sarah felt like she was caught in the eye of a storm. She wanted to scream, stop, at both of them, but her voice wavered as she caught her father's pained expression. Dad, she started softly, what if my happiness comes from this? You always told me to strive for greatness. Isn't that what I'm doing? He hesitated, the flicker of doubt crossing his face. I don't want to see you fail. Her heart softened briefly. Then help me succeed. Help me find what I love and make it work. That's all I'm asking. The silence grew heavy once more, settling like a blanket over the three of them. Suddenly, the laughter and music from the ballroom felt miles away. He looked down at the ground, as if weighing the gravity of her words. But just when she thought he might soften, another sharp voice echoed behind them. Sarah! You're missing your dance. It was her mother, gliding toward them, the worry apparent on her face, oblivious to the tension in the air. Sarah's heart plummeted again. She looked back at her father, her courage hanging by a thread. This was the moment that could shift everything. Mom, please. But before she could finish, Sarah caught a glimpse of Jordan's face. It was determined, urging her silently to assert herself, to stand her ground. And just then, amidst the chaos of conflicting emotions, she felt an unfamiliar sense of clarity. What would she choose, and what would she say next? Would she embrace the moment, or would fear of disappointing them make her retreat once again? As Sarah opened her mouth to speak, her mind raced with possibilities, feeling as if a door to her dreams and her family's acceptance hung in the balance. What was the truth she was willing to fight for? Mom! Sarah cried out, desperation lacing her voice. Her mother's heels clicked sharply against the stone path, punctuating the tension that hung in the air. What is going on here? Her mother asked, glancing between her husband and daughter. The smile on her face faded as she caught sight of the worry etched in Sarah's expression and the disapproval in her father's. Nothing, Mom, Sarah replied too quickly, her heart racing. She felt as if the walls were closing in, all eyes on her. She needed to speak, to pour out her truth before the moment slipped away. I was just telling Dad about my art, my dreams. Art? Her mother echoed, her brows knitting together. Oh, honey, I thought you were just dabbling for fun. You have so much potential in other areas. The sting of her mother's words cut deeper than she expected. It wasn't just her father's opinion weighing on her, but both of them echoing a belief she had long struggled against. She felt the ache in her chest expand, the familiar flutter of doubt creeping in. Mom, that's exactly it. She shouted, surprising even herself. It's not just a phase. This is what I want, what makes me feel alive. I want to be an artist. Sarah, her father began, but she interrupted, pushing through the wave of emotions threatening to swallow her whole. No. I need you to understand. It's not about stability or what looks good on paper. It's about me being true to who I am. The warmth of courage coursed through her veins, every word rushing faster than the last. I need to chase this dream, even if that means risking everything. Her mother stepped closer, concern brimming in her eyes. But what if it doesn't work out? What if it does? Sarah cut in, her voice steady now. What if I find joy and success doing what I love? Isn't that worth fighting for? She took a breath, feeling the weight of the world on her shoulders. The air crackled with anticipation as she searched her parents' faces for a glimmer of understanding. But all she saw was disbelief. Seeing the conflict tear through her father's features, Jordan took a step forward. Mr. Thompson, sometimes the most successful art comes from passion. People who dare to follow their hearts can achieve incredible things. I've seen it happen with my own eyes. For a fleeting moment, Sarah felt a bond form between them, a united front against the looming shadows of doubt. She watched as her father's mouth twisted into a frown, his frustration intertwining with something else, fear, perhaps? Do you really believe someone can succeed with art? Her father asked, his voice low, almost trembling. Yes, Jordan replied without hesitation, meeting her father's gaze. It's a risk, but it's one worth taking. Sometimes, we have to step into the unknown to discover who we truly are. Tension seemed to swell and mingle in the air, invisible threads weaving through the silence. Sarah's breath quickened, she was standing on the edge. Would this be the moment her family could truly see her? Her mother finally broke the silence, her voice softer now, but what about practicalities? What about a degree or salary? Sweetheart, we want what's best for you. I want what's best for me. Sarah shot back, her voice laced with a fierce resolve. It feels like I'm screaming into a void. Why can't you just trust that I can make my own choices? I'm asking for your support, not for permission to live my life. Her father looked away, wrestling with his feelings. Sarah, I want you to be secure. Maybe security isn't the goal, she whispered, feeling the warmth of tears prick behind her eyelids. Maybe happiness is. The silence carved heavy paths in the air, both parents processing her words while Sarah held on to her breath, hope mingling with fear. As her mother turned to her father, searching for some kind of unity, Sarah felt a rush of adrenaline. This was her moment, and with it came a surge of potential, an opening she had almost lost hope of finding. But just as her father began to speak again, the sounds of laughter burst from the ballroom, a reminder that life continued on. Sarah! A voice called from the entrance, a woman in an elegant dress tossing her head with carefree laughter. You're missing your dance. Her heart sank again. She had almost made them understand. Almost. The moment hung perilously in the balance, threatening to slip away like sand through her fingers. Wait! Sarah shouted, a newfound urgency lighting her eyes. She felt the stir of a deep resolve pushing her again. Just wait. I'm not done yet. Everyone turned, all eyes on her, as she braced for the next words that would seal her fate. Would this be the moment her dream took flight, or would fear continue to bind her to her family's expectations? She took a deep breath, ready to confront whatever came next, ready for the confrontation that would redefine everything. What would her truth bring to light? The dance floor erupted into a kaleidoscope of colors and celebrations, but Sarah felt like she had entered a different reality. A breathless moment hung between her and her parents, a collective anticipation pregnant with possibilities. She stood there, her heart pounding, every pulse begging her to embrace the life she longed for. Dad, I understand why you worry. But I can't keep living under your dreams. I need to be honest with myself, and I want you both to be a part of it. The words tumbled out, raw and unfiltered, her passion surging through each syllable. Time seemed to slow as she scanned their faces, searching for a flicker of acknowledgement or acceptance in their wide, startled eyes. Her mother's brow furrowed, concern shadowing her face. Sarah, it's just art can be so unpredictable. We want you to have stability. Stability? Sarah echoed, her voice stronger now. All I've ever wanted was to feel whole, like I have a place in the world. Chasing my passion, my dreams, that's where I want to find my happiness. Her chin lifted, emboldened by her courage, a spark flickering brightly within her. Just then, Jordan stepped forward. The unpredictability is part of the journey. Sometimes not knowing is what makes it exhilarating. Sarah deserves a chance to explore, to create something beautiful from who she is. His support radiated warmth throughout her, filling her with a sense of solidarity as he faced her parents. The expression on her father's face began to shift, the stoic line of his jaw softening just a fraction. She seized the moment. Dad, I want to share my art with you. I want to paint not just for myself but to create something that could touch others, to allow my heart to speak through my brush. A quiver in her voice echoed the hope that hung delicately in the air. Art is not just a hobby, it's who I am, she added, urgency lacing her words. Can't you see that? You taught me to strive for greatness. Well, this will be my greatness. A piercing silence enveloped them, the tension ebbing as her father's brow furrowed deeper. In that instant, Jordan stepped back, allowing the real confrontation to unfold. Sarah felt the walls of expectation crumbling a little, revealing flickers of understanding. I just don't want to see you fail, he finally said, voice lowering with hesitant sincerity. I'm scared to lose you to something that might fall through. The tremor in his tone signified a battle between concern for her and the rigidity he had held onto for so long. Her mother added quietly, we love you, sweetheart. We only want the best for you. And there it was. An opening, a chance to mend the gap that had formed over years of tension and silent misunderstandings. I know you love me, she said softly, her heart fluttering with vulnerability. But loving me means supporting what makes me happy, even if it scares you. I can't thrive if I'm constantly confined by other people's definitions of success. Slowly, a shift happened in her father's expression, a small crack of realization breaking through the armor he wore. This is troubling for me, he finally admitted, letting a sigh escape him. But I see you growing. And if this will make you happy, his voice trailed off as he struggled to find the words, as if grappling with a truth that had been hidden beneath layers of his own expectations. Tears glistened in Sarah's eyes as her breath caught in her throat. It will. I promise you it can lead to something beautiful, something I can share with both of you. I need you on this journey with me. Jordan, sensing the fragile moment, nodded. We can find a way to blend both worlds, your passion and your family obligations. You don't have to choose one over the other. The air hummed with tension as her mother stepped forward, the worry etched into her face replaced by a fleeting spark of understanding. Let us give this a chance, she said, almost hesitantly. We'll be here for you, trying to understand this part of you. Together, Sarah's father added, his voice steadier, "we will figure this out." The gravity of acceptance hung thick in the air, a weight lifting as Sarah approached her parents, standing on the edge of hope. The tender realization that love, though imperfect, could bridge the gaps formed between them softened her heart. In that moment, she embraced the promise of the future. She reached out to Jordan, who radiated support and encouragement, feeling gratitude swell within her as emotions roiled beneath the surface of everything that had been said. "It's time to celebrate," Jordan said, stepping back towards the party, a playfulness lighting up his face. "Yes. Let us dance," Sarah exclaimed, a jubilant laugh escaping her lips, bursting forth like sunlight after a storm. Hand in hand, together, they stepped back into the celebration, the glitter, the sound, and the promise of a new beginning intertwining beautifully as they moved forward into the open arms of possibility. As the music swirled around her, she felt lighter, unburdened by doubt. Family would always be her foundation, but now, she stood a little taller, an artist willing to paint her own path, shaped by love, sprinkled with dreams, and anchored in hope. Now was the moment to spark transformation, the moment she chose herself. If you're feeling inspired by Sarah's journey, you need to subscribe now to follow every magical moment in stories just like this. Hit that thumbs up button because you know it helps grow our community. Leave a comment below and tell me how you feel after witnessing Sarah's transformation. And don't wait not even one more second, share this video with at least 5 friends who need this encouragement today. Your support means everything.